All right. Patrick, do you want to take us through the org chart, I guess, is the first thing?
Yes, first thing on the agenda is the personnel org chart. The last meeting that we had as a group, I think, was in December. And I gave you guys the first run through. I'm going to go share my screen. I've updated it since I sent it to you guys yesterday. Sorry, you just got it yesterday, but I was making some adjustments to it last week, and just with all these blocks, I wanted to get a fresh set of eyes on it before I sent it out to you guys. So let me share my screen. We can kind of walk through it together. You should be able to, can everybody see that all right?
Yes.
All right, so this is the tool I sent to you guys just yesterday, and I think the best way to go about this, probably start with the voters and the select board and Jim, and work our way out that way. So essentially, obviously you have the voters who are responsible for voting into office certain positions in town government, which include the school committee, select board, planning board, board of assessors, sewer and water commission, and library board of trustees. And the select board appoints Jim as the town administrator, and Jim as the chief administrative officer is responsible for appointing a number of administrative positions in town government. So we'll from his position here, we'll kind of take it out here. We've got the building department, which is overseen by the building commissioner, and the several positions that fall under him, including deputy building commissioner, deputy building inspector, some of the local inspectors, a staff assistant, it's Diane, and a senior clerk position. It's a part-time position. It's actually just been vacated as of last week or the week before. We had that person took a position somewhere else in town. And then the finance department. We talked last time about how the finance department has been recently restructured. So the finance director is now the finance director / town accountant, which oversees the treasurer collector office and the accountant's office. Prior to this, it used to be finance director / treasurer collector. So when Marilyn Thompson was here, essentially she had overseen like the assistant treasurer collector and all the way down, and Jody's position fell under her. But town meeting a couple of years ago made that change to allow the finance director to be either the town accountant or the treasurer collector. Moving on, council on aging.
It's just something, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but Julie just said hi. She got stuck in Boston at an appointment. She's on the road now, but not likely to get back in time for meeting.
Okay.
Okay, so
Great.
Yeah, okay. So sorry to interrupt.
No problem. If I'm going into too much detail with this or going too slow, let me know. I can go into more detail or less detail, but I'll just keep carrying on here. So council on aging director, Carrie, her position oversees a number of positions, including the assistant director. That's a position, job description that we actually worked on within the last year or two. Program coordinator, elder affairs advocate, outreach coordinator. I don't know why I skipped over that. Van drivers, and a principal clerk is part-time. IT department, there's two people in that department. Mike Donovan, the IT director, and Doug Betchart, the PC support technician. Town clerk's office, there's four folks in that office. Sharon is part-time. I gotta mark that she's part-time. Conservation, this is another position here. This is the part-time conservation secretary. Was another job description that we've worked on in the last year or so. You guys have asked recently for positions that have been either reduced or laid off. So there are two positions within administration that have been essentially eliminated for now. The one's the principal clerk position. There was a vacancy in the office around the time of the onset of the COVID pandemic, so this one was an easy position to eliminate. And then the finance committee clerk, that was Claire Averill, who had done that position for quite some time. As of July, there was a position that we had eliminated. And then Valerie Donahue, I know we've talked about this before, her position's been reduced, and she's come back from retirement to help us in this interim period. Moving on, Oh, this is, yep, so we were just talking about administration. These are the several positions within administration. Health department, it's Melissa Ranieri, she's the health director, oversees the deputy health agent and the staff assistant. And I just realized, I can't believe I forgot to add the public health nurse who's been helping us through this pandemic. And I spent a lot of today with her today, actually, just as an update, the personnel board. The health department started their first clinics of the COVID vaccine today at the Council on Aging. So it was a really exciting day. They did 2 vaccination clinics, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. We were able to administer 100 vaccinations. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Community economic development. This is the director, Ashley Clark. She's actually just, as of Friday, is no longer in this position. She's moved out to California. So her replacement will be starting on Monday. His name is Patrick DeShane. He comes from Norwood. We're really excited for him to start. And then this is another position that's been reduced. This is the ZBA board secretary. Moving on, rec department. Brendan's the recreation director, oversees the assistant director, several program coordinators, including one that was laid off during COVID. And then the veterans agent, John Kogan, he retired at the end of the calendar year last year, and so we're still in the process of trying to fill that position. Up here, planning board, they oversee Kate Delaney, the administrative board secretary. She reports directly to that board, as does the director of assessing, Dennis Valesi, reports directly to the board of assessors. In his office, there's 3 people. Erin was the one from the building department that had just moved over recently, and Karen has just been promoted. She replaces Adriella, who retired a couple months ago after many years of service to the town, and Pamela has been doing a great job. Also many years of service to the town. Library Board of Trustees, they appoint Sal, the library director, and his position oversees obviously a number of positions, including the assistant director. That's Molly. She just replaced Norma Jean a couple months ago. Norma Jean retired, and Molly came from Westwood. Has been doing a great job. You'll see all the principal clerk, reference librarian, children's librarian, and the library clerk. So there's actually been a lot of turnover at the library this year. You notice there's an open position. Sarah, her last day, Chris, is I think this Friday. Is that right? And a few other folks have indicated that they may be leaving this upcoming year. So a lot of turnover in the library this year. Just kind of moving on. Down here we've got the public safety department, so the fire department and the police department. Both chiefs oversee dispatch, joint dispatch, which I've included down here, and the police department oversees the animal control officer, which is down here. So I'll kind of take it through both departments. With the police, the hierarchy of the fire department, you get the fire chief and the deputy chief, and then 4 groups, each group containing a captain, a lieutenant, and 8 firefighters. And then also Linda, who's the administrative assistant of the fire department. And then the hierarchy at the police department, actually, this isn't totally a downward column. I gotta fix that. So the police chief oversees, obviously, the deputy chief. And then with the command staff, there's 3 lieutenants. And then this is where the lieutenants obviously oversee the sergeants, but the sergeants don't oversee the detective unit. The detective unit has its own detective sergeant and 5 detectives. Then there's 26 patrol officers and the 7 sergeants. So just wanted to make that correction. And then the civilian staff down here, there's a full-time administrative assistant and the 2 part-time principal clerks. So within DPW, this is the last main grouping here. Rick Mattson, who's the DPW director, oversees each of the division superintendents. So contained within that is the building maintenance, town engineer, vehicle maintenance, sewer and water, the highway department, and parks, cemeteries, and forestry. And you may remember within the last few years, we've made some changes to the way that these departments are structured. It used to all be one under Bob LeBlanc, and then when Rick became the DPW director, and Bob LeBlanc had left to go to a position in another town, Rick took a step back and said, well, wait a second, the skill set required of somebody overseeing parks, cemeteries, and forestry are different than those overseeing roads and sidewalks and highways. So we worked with you guys to break these divisions up to create 2 separate divisions. So underneath each of them, for the most part, there's a 4-person. I saw your message, John. So thanks for catching that. For the most part, there's a 4-person under each of the superintendents, which leads the group, and then those 4-person, they're essentially the number one. They'll lead the folks underneath them. A couple cases, you get some assistants. So we've got an assistant engineer and an assistant sewer and water superintendent. So Scott, for instance, he's responsible for most of the water treatment, and Bernie's out in the field most of the time. So that's essentially it in a nutshell. Any questions? I think you saw my note. So this is obviously a difficult document to try to maintain. Since we reviewed it in December, there were a number of updates that I had to make. With the turnover, the organization this big, it can be a lot to try to stay on top of, and I can't imagine we're going to be reviewing this monthly, maybe on an annual basis. So what I'd like to propose is keeping the positions rather than the names, and just adding or subtracting positions to accompany essentially the budgets that go before, for the finance committee and town meetings. So it's not so much person specific, so much it is position specific. But and any questions? Can I focus in any area in particular?
For me, this is awesome. This is really a helpful tool as we go through things, and just something that's kind of newer to this board. It kind of puts everything in order. But I would agree, like, it's probably going to be crazy to try to maintain this. I would just take all the names out.
Okay.
I mean, unless you need it for some sort of administrative purpose, but I don't.
No, in fact, I think the perfect example, when I was updating this, last time around we didn't have an updated breakdown of the fire department and the police department, and I think the way that this is organized makes it easy to grasp that, okay, you've got the 1 captain, 1 lieutenant, and the firefighters don't necessarily need to break down each of their names.
If I may suggest, just for consistency, what you've done on one side, like under the DPW, and I don't, maybe there's a reason for this, under the DPW, for example, versus Council of the Aging, you could certainly have one box there and just list out your, 1 clerk, and just kind of simplify it, so you don't have all of the different levels. But
okay.
Is there a significance to it looks like a dotted line from the select board to the 2 chiefs?
Yeah, so the select board appoints the 2 chiefs, and I remember last time when we went through this together, I noticed a couple other positions that need that kind of dotted line. So the town clerk and the veterans agent and the 2 chiefs are all appointed by the select board, but supervised by the town administrator. So I'm going to go through and make that with the veterans agent and the town clerk. I've got to go ahead. What I'll probably do is move them maybe up here or something so it can tie into that dotted line. But
okay.
Any other questions?
Looks awesome. No.
Okay, so I'll make some final adjustments. I'll go through and delete the names, and kind of that'll help, like you mentioned, Mike, with like the council on aging. That'll help kind of tighten it up a little bit, so it might be easier.
Yeah, real estate's there's not much real estate on that page, so you can kind of pull it all in.
No, there isn't. All right, so I'll go through, I'll make those changes, and I'll send a final version out to the personnel board in the next week or 2. So, all right. Great. Any other questions? No? Okay. All right. So that leads us to the next agenda item, which is the town report submission. John, I know that you sent over a couple comments right before the meeting. I don't know if anybody else has had a chance to look at it. Has any other comments or revisions that they'd like me to make?
I didn't get a chance to read your comments, John. Sorry. I saw them come in, but
I only sent them at 5:30, so
I
I
know.
apologize.
What did you say?
I didn't send them till 5:30, so I'm not surprised you didn't have a chance to take a look at them. But
Yeah. So I can,
a couple.
I can share the screen, John, if you want me to share this.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
All right. So here are John's revisions. So the plan I can go through actually. So I took this from the personnel bylaw. I can replace plan with it specifies that the plan and the bylaws, the position classification and compensation schedule here I'm referred to as the plan. So I can go through and make that change for position classification and compensation schedule. And then John had a comment, a revision here, and another one down here too.
So the one on the last paragraph on the first page, I just added something in there that reflects that we're not just that part of our charge, at least as I see it, is to keep an eye out, be a watchdog for the taxpayer also. So I just say we're committed to striking a balance between controlling the financial burden on the taxpayer and providing fair and equitable competitive wages to the town employees.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right. Any other revisions or suggestions?
Just the last sentence you have there, thanking Patrick and his team. Yeah,
Yes.
that's nice.
Thanks, John.
I've seen that in other, submissions to the town report where express a little gratitude for the assistance that we get. So,
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, looks good.
All right. I don't necessarily need to vote on this, so we'll make sure to include this in the town report for 2020.
Okay.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the approval of personnel action requests. Those should be in your packets. Or email attachments, I guess it is.
I had a question on, you mentioned the veterans agent, John. It said resignation, but you mentioned he retired. Usually on this reports, it's indicated, someone's retired or they resigned. So just clarify that. Did he retire, I take it?
Yeah, so he had come to us, actually, let me rephrase, it was his intention to retire. Chris, I don't even know if he's gone to the retirement board, but he left, no, he hasn't, okay. So he, when he resigned at the end of the year, he indicated it was his intention at some point to go to the retirement board, but as of right now, it's just a resignation, and he's planning on, going, I guess, when the timing's right for him. But we thank him for his many years of service. He's done a bang-up job, and I don't know if you caught the finance committee meeting last night, but Jim had given an update to the finance committee that we've had this position posted for quite a little bit. So far have been unsuccessful at finding a replacement for him. He's done a bang-up job, but he did a bang-up job when he was the veterans agent, and we're finding it's been difficult to replace him. So we've done several interviews with some candidates. Haven't been totally impressed, and we want to make sure that the person we get meets our expectations, and we got pretty high expectations for this position. So we got a couple other interviews scheduled for later this week, but it's our hope to get that position filled as soon as possible. And I want to actually thank the Council on Aging. The Council on Aging's been stepping in. They've been doing for the past couple months while John's been gone, helping process the Chapter 115 benefits, and in addition to their regular Council on Aging responsibilities, have been helping out with the health department and managing the registrations for the vaccinations. So Council on Aging has been a all-around community service department. They've been doing an awesome job.
One other question on it. I seen down at the bottom of the police sergeant. What's a temp promotion? I guess. What does that mean?
So one of the patrol sergeants has been out on leave for an injury. So in the absence of him being on regular patrol, one of the patrolmen was appointed by the selectmen as a temporary sergeant to assist with the sergeant shifts.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
I think we have to vote on it, right?
Yeah.
Do we have to vote?
Yes.
I'll
Please.
make a motion to accept it as presented.
Second the motion.
Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Actually, can you authorize me to sign them for the personnel board?
So amended.
Okay, great. All right, so Larry,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
and that's a yes for me.
And then just an update from me, the finance committee, they had their first meeting to go over the over the spring town meeting warrant just yesterday. So the personnel board is scheduled to meet with the finance committee on Thursday, February 18th at 7 p.m. So they'll review the personnel board articles. So that'll be the 1.75% cost of living adjustment and the addition of the Juneteenth holiday to the personnel bylaw. So Mike, I don't know if you'll be there or if somebody else from the personnel board wants to go and answer any questions that they'll have, but once those Zoom information becomes available. So
And when is it scheduled to be?
Thursday, February 18th at 7 p.m. I think it's one of the only two things.
Yeah, I mean, I tentatively have plans to be out of town that night, but I could probably do that meeting, or I'll talk to Julie. It'll be Julie or myself will attend.
Okay, yeah, if you guys just let me know, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Julie or you cannot make it, I'll be the third string.
You will? Okay. Yeah, we always put you on the hook with them, so I figured we'd have to do it at some point. So.
It's okay.
Won't be Larry's first rodeo anyway.
All right.
I have a question though regarding town FinCom. It was ironic that I was watching a little bit last night, and it was some discussion about contracts and stuff. And I don't know, I didn't watch all of it, but I'm wondering, Patrick, can we get a copy just so we know what's going on with contracts? It was mentioned at the meeting that they're available for public view, I guess. Is there any way you could share that with the board just to understand? I guess there's several of them out there with, I guess, the senior people. And also, would it be plausible to also get an update on the stipend agreements we have with everybody? I guess at least the senior people, just so we can understand what's going on.
Yeah, no problem. So at the meeting last night, Jim had committed to getting something to the finance committee. There was some question about the contracts. I forget in what context it had come up, but one of the members had asked for information relative to the contract. So you can talk to Jim because he mentioned he was going to put together a memo for the finance committee to make sure that the personnel board gets the same information. So relative to stipends, yeah.
Is there? Can I back up for a second? Is there possible to? Can we see the contracts? Or that voluminous that I don't want to make it, but I'd just be curious to see how they're structured. Are they all the same? I don't know.
Yeah, so that was something that Jim had mentioned to the finance committee last night too, that to Jim's knowledge, the contract structures have been the same as when Michael Boynton was the town administrator, and they're kept on file in the town clerk's office for public inspection. So yeah, no problem.
And one last item that was mentioned, Jim mentioned it, I think, at the meeting, that their personnel board's not necessarily involved with that process because there was something about a legal opinion saying that it was not required for us to be part of that. Is there any way to to resurface that or just reprint it and let us see that? I don't recall. I don't remember it. And if it was done, it was probably a while ago.
Yeah, so question that had come up was questioning the Board of Selectmen's authority to enter into employment contracts. So that, I think the legal opinion that was discussed last night was that legal opinion that authorizes the select board to enter into labor contracts with select individuals. So that's part of the documentation that the finance committee had requested. So when that gets, when Jim puts that together, I'll make sure that the personnel board gets a copy of that too.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem at all. Any other questions?
Any logistic discussions on town meeting? Is it going to be outside?
Yeah,
May,
so
you can have it
the
outside.
select board has finalized, has closed the town meeting warrant and is reviewing it, we're having town council review it before they sign it. The moderator's already indicated that it's gonna be on a Saturday before when it usually is, so the charter mentions it's normally the first Monday in May, so it's gonna be that first Saturday in May, which I think is the first. Yeah, it is. It's the first. So it's gonna be out in the high school football field again. I can't recall. I think the rain date's the very next day, but I'll have to verify those final logistics with Jim and the moderator. But it's gonna be out in the high school football field again.
That seemed to work okay?
Yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, it's gone okay. Larry, Mike, I know you guys are members. Jane, are you a town meeting member
Yes.
also?
I am also. I thought it was good.
I am not a member, so I
You're not a
can't
member.
speak to it.
I thought it was great. I mean,
Yeah.
the first one was supposed to be really hot. It was warm, but it wasn't awful. And the second one was great.
Yeah, we had a nice day in October. That really helped. And then the one in the spring was the second to last weekend in June. So it was kind of hot. I think the first weekend of May, it's not going to be quite so hot. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, we've got, to think of the considerations. The sound is probably the most difficult part. But Doug Betchard, who's a PC support tech here in town, he's the one that handles high school graduation every year, and he's done an awesome job both times, I think. And you wouldn't know that that we were outside or had a complete disruption in the way we normally do town meeting. I think it's gone off seamlessly. So
It's a lot of work for the
Really
town,
well.
but it's great.
Yeah, it went well, and they were very thoughtful, like water for you, and everything was really nicely done.
yeah, and we've had these. I don't know if you guys remember, we had the construction paper, red card and a green card. So in addition to yelling, voting yes or no, you held up your red card or your green card. So it kind of gave the moderator an additional cue as to which way the members were voting. So if there's any question about the voice voting, maybe
was
they'll
great.
be blue or something. Yeah, it worked out
And,
great.
and sunblock too. That was a nice touch. All right.
All right, final items on the agenda is just the approval of the minutes of November 10th and December 12th meetings.
Should we vote them separately?
Yeah, I think Larry had a couple suggestions, I think, for the November 10th meeting minutes.
Yeah.
Larry, if you want to go through those.
Nothing, something more paraphrasing what I was saying. Let me see if I can pull it up. Where the heck is it? I don't know if you want to show it. Basically, the yellow, just so you know, and I should have put the line through it. That's shame on me.
Pull it up right now.
Yeah, the yellow was basically delete, and the red was to add. If that makes any sense.
Yep.
And it was really just involving paraphrasing what I was saying in a sense, as I recall.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't have any other questions on the minutes. Do you want to? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes as amended?
I'll make a motion to accept them, November 10th.
Second.
I second it.
Okay. All right. So we just have to do. I don't know if John stepped away. All right, so just do a roll vote. Larry,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
it's a yes from me. I don't know where John went. But...
All right, we can just do a 3-0-0. I don't know where.
Okay. All right. And if there's no questions on the December minutes, I can make a motion to approve those as well. I'm sorry. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll
those as
make a
well?
motion to accept the December meeting minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. So let's vote. Larry,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
and I'm going to abstain because I was not at that meeting.
Do we need
All right.
3 votes for that? Here's
So
John.
here it
So
is,
John-
just in
John.
time.
Perfect timing.
We need, John, how do you vote? Do you vote to approve the minutes for December? Oh, we might have lied. John, you there?
Sorry, John, I muted you. It sounded like you were having a conversation.
Yeah, you saw me.
Oh, sorry. I just again.
There you are. Hey, John, how do you vote on the minutes? We need a vote on November and December.
I vote to accept both minutes from November and from December.
Thank you, John. All right. Is there any other business for tonight?
No, so we'll just plan for that Thursday, February 18th meeting, Mike, and yeah, we've got.
Patrick, will you just shoot me an email to remind me so I don't
Yeah, no
so
problem.
I don't lose it? Thank you.
Yeah. All right, and then what if you want? I don't know if you want to plan for another meeting about a month from now. That second Tuesday in March. You can't imagine the business coming up between now and then.
Yeah. Well, let's leave it on like we have been doing. Just leave it on the books, and then make a decision. A couple of weeks out. If there's nothing going on, we can push it.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Thanks all. Have a
Yeah.
good night.
Thank you.
Hey, so long, everybody.
Move to
Thank you.
adjourn.